In Chapter 21, we learn about how to turn Latin adjectives into adverbs. So in English, we generally add an ly at the end. So happy goes to happily. The rule in Latin is similarly simple, although it's got a couple different variations that I'm going to show you in this video. So as a reminder, in English, we would change quick to quickly. Angry would go to angrily, and that Y would change to an I. So sometimes there are some slight spelling differences, and brave would go to bravely. Remember that adjectives modify nouns or pronouns, and adverbs modify verbs, adjectives, and other adverbs. So, and whereas adjectives, because they modify nouns, they're going to have to change endings to agree with the case number and gender of the nouns. Adverbs don't change forms in Latin, so they will have only one form, so that means only one or two rules to memorize, and then you'll be all set. So remember that adjectives basically fall into two families. There's first, second declension adjectives, and the way you recognize those are they usually have a US, an A, and a UM ending in the dictionary form. Sometimes it'll have an ER in this first form, but you'll always be able to recognize the second and the third form will always be A and UM, depending on if it's modifying a masculine, feminine, or neuter. So if you are in that situation, all you're going to do is change this initial US to an E. So kaikus is going to go to kaike, ignawus is going to go to ignawe, blind, blindly, lazy, lazily. So dirus would go to dire, harshly, tutus, tute, and then tardus, tarde, slowly. So that's it. That's the only form of the adverb you need to know. And if it is a first, second declension adjective, that's the only rule you need to know. Third declension adjectives, like third declension nouns, really have no pattern. So as you can see here, there's brewis that ends in is, there's ferox that ends in x, and acer, which ends in er. So just like with nouns, with third declension adjectives, you always have to go to the second form to find the stem. And a lot of times you're just going to have to use common sense to find the stem. So here the stem is brev, here it's feroc, and here it's acr. And then in third declension adjectives, you're just going to add iter to the stem. So brewis, which means short, goes to breviter, shortly. Ferox, ferocious, ferociter, ferociously. Acer, sharp, acriter, sharply. And notice that that stem doesn't have the E here because we go to that second form. So grawis, the stem is going to be grav, and then you're just going to add iter. Tristis, sad, you're going to add iter. And then felix, felicus, here you're going to take off the is and add iter, happily or luckily. So those are the two basic rules. First, second declension adjective, to make it an adverb, is going to end in E. Third declension adjective is going to go to an adverb with an iter. There is, as you might imagine, one exception. If a third declension adjective has a stem that ends in nt, so potens, potentis, sapiens, sapientis, you are just going to add er. You are not going to add iter. So potenter becomes powerfully. Sapienter, just with that er, becomes wisely. So other than that, though, there's two main rules, us to e, third declension to iter, and then this one exception, if the stem of a third declension noun ends in nt, you're just going to add er.